Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Bitcoin report for Monday, October 18, and just starting with the weekly chart here for Bitcoin. In the bigger picture here, we're looking at wave 3 here and wave 4 here, and we're looking at this as wave 1 and 2 here and wave 3 here. So with wave 3, the 61, if we take the length of wave 1 and then add that to the low of wave 2, that brings the Fibonacci extension up quite close to the 80. There's also the number 72 in here that we need to note along the way. Also too is that we're very close to the old top here. It looks like we will push up here further. So double tops, as W.D. Gann would say, is never the end of the bull campaign. So we should be pushing higher. The other point too, as you probably know, the news, the ETF is being sort of resolved at the moment, and of course that's going to bring in some buying power as well. I know that the current approval for one of the or the two of the ETF Pro shares, and which is going to be a futures contract, so it's a paper ETF basically. That's not going to be much chop, I guess, but other ETFs are coming on. I think that Grayscale want to re-register their product to a fully fledged ETF as well. So it certainly looks like, it looks like the SEC is going to approve these ETFs, and of course they're going to bring in a buying power that wasn't really present before. So that's really lines up with the nice third wave here. So how it actually treats it, I'm not too sure. All I can do is just be conservative and move along. So in terms of wave 2 to wave 3 here, that would be the natural move here in terms of Elliott wave and Fibonacci. Now that could extend out further, it could be shorter, all sorts of things could happen. It's a very news driven market as such. Coming to the old top here, we should see a bit of, at 65,000, a medium level, we should see some sort of, well, it just depends on how much volume comes in and all these ETFs and so on, how excited the market gets about that. But normally we would look for, a classic trading levels pattern at that particular point. Now, so the arrival at 65,000, the reaction, the first high above the level, then a correction. Now we may also get a situation where we don't pull back below the level, it just sits squarely on the level. I mean, if it's pumping away, it could do that. It can also do this one too, which is a little bit rarer, where it doesn't stop at the level. The other two stop at the level here. This one doesn't stop at the level, but the distance above is normally the distance below it swings, and then eventually balances out into the 65 and then moves off from that point, which is called the overshoot pattern. So one of these three are going to occur here in one degree or another. Okay, so that's what we have to be prepared for. So let's just go in, and now we had a little bit of a chinwag about that. So the second thing that I really need to talk about, and I haven't really resolved it, is that at the 65, when we reach there, I'm not sure how to count it up. So first of all, I know that my Fibonacci extension of wave 1 will bring us up to around that point there. So I'm just kind of seeing how I can fit 5 waves into that. So this was one of the ways that we could do it here. So what we would see at the old highs over here would be a 3-4 correction, and then just continuing to the upside at that point. But that's counting this as wave 1 and 2 here. The other way that we count this in a bigger picture that we've talked about as well, which is having wave 1 up here and wave 2 here. Now that presents such a much bigger bullish picture, and maybe that's possible, but yeah, I think that we'll stay with the conservative count. And even in the conservative count as well, there's different ways to count it. There's different ways to count this low here, which we need to talk about a little bit today as well. But all in all, this move that's come down through here is corrective. It's sitting on top of the trend line here now, if you noticed, from this low to that low to there, for whatever that's worth. So what we should see here is some sort of move up here, and then some sort of, you know, corrective move across this level here. How long will it be and how big will it be? I don't really know, because I know that obviously it's news driven, and to a point with these ETFs coming online on, you know, during all this week, there's going to be news about you know, applications being, you know, lodged and approved and so on, and they'll have to buy the physical you know, the paper ones. You know, the futures contracts don't obviously have to buy ETF futures don't have to buy any Bitcoin, any real Bitcoin, but the other guys, they will need to they'll need to buy that, and that's still to come, you know. So yeah, anyway, they're all getting, everything's priced in, and yeah, but more good news to come, which is obviously going to push the price higher. Like I said, I'm just not sure how this is going to play out there. So based on that, we were looking at it in a couple of different ways. I think this is one way to look at it. This little move here is corrective. We can look at that in a moment, but basically looking in here for some type of, you know, ABC correction in this space before moving higher there. But I just want to draw our attentions back to the beginning here, because when you've reached your limit, then you've got to start at the beginning again, as Bruce Lee would say. So in this case here, it's possible to count this in a variety of ways here. So it's possible to put wave 1 and 2 here. It's possible to put wave 1 here. Actually, that way I feel better with wave 2 over here, but that doesn't really matter at that point. Wave 2 here, and then also to look at this as wave 1 and 2 here as well. So you can imagine how that sort of throws the count out a little bit. Then we'll have to start counting again in this, you know. And the question here, first up, if that's 1 and 2 here, do we look at that as 3 and 4, or this 5-wave structure, or do we look at this as 1 and 2 again as well? So there's different ways to view this, and yeah, so coming into, I think, the 3-hour chart, I've just done that, just nothing special about the 3-hour chart or the 2-hour chart or any particular time frame. So, but it does just give us a sort of, I don't know, just sort of gives us a bit of an understanding of what we could be up against, you know, how this could extend out, because we have to, because it's a minor third wave that we're in, they can really stretch out, you know. They just keep stretching and stretching and stretching, and that's what I kind of want to be aware of right from the get-go, and look how to count these. Once you get something in play, so like this wave 4 here, if we get this as a nice complicated big wave 4, then okay, we can call it a 4. Do you know what I mean? It's not there. It's this little pullback here, for example. I know it's corrective. If I come over to the crypto index for a moment, which is halfway between, which is a top 10 crypto. So in this particular instance here, we can count it as 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave. I mean, do we put that wave 2 there? It's a bit shallow, isn't it? But it's nice and short and sharp, and it's probably not the case. But that means that we'd need to rearrange all of this then, doesn't it? It means that we'd need to grab this over here. And Ethereum is more on this particular count as well, you know. All I can tell you is that it's bullish. I'm not sure the best way to count it at this particular point in time. And when we look at Ethereum here, well, we've got wave 1 up here with an ABC for wave 2. And we're getting that double top coming in there at 4,000, a medium level once again. And yeah, so counting this up here, if we look at it the same as the crypto index, which we had been, you know, we'd been looking at it. Well, I had been anyway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for, I'll just remove this a little bit, and looking for that wave 2 there. But this is not going to pull back. It's not going to pull back that far. Well, I don't think so anyway. So it's a bit, I don't know. I mean, do we put that up there? It doesn't look right, does it? So I think what we need to do here is start to build this from the bottom in a bigger way now. But that's okay. We'll just see how. I think things will come a little bit apparent once we see what type of correction and how long we spend at this particular level here. Don't forget, this is just wave 1 and 2 here. So, you know, that's why I was thinking that, well, we could just look at all of this as wave 1 here. And maybe we can look at that as wave 2. I'm not quite sure, but might need to build it in a different way. So wave 1 here and 2 here. Well, the same thing can apply here as well. We can put that there, we can put that here, so we can build that to, I think that's the low on this particular one, so we can build that to that point. Or do I just put wave 2 here and put wave 1 over here, so we look at all of this as wave 1 and 2 here. So there's a bit of thought that to go in it yet, but I can say with this market here, if we go back to the daily chart just for a moment, let's just assume for a moment that that this here is, so if I take this low roughly here to here, that's the length of wave 1, so we need wave 3 to there. But normally you'd add another 60% on top of that, so that would leave wave 3. I'll put it probably just up here, because what will happen is that we'll end up getting some classic trading levels pattern, you know, here like this, before heading high. I mean, 5 is the second strongest number, so there's going to be some sort of dance there for sure. So yeah, how to count this is what we're sort of looking at. I mean, one of the main things that we'd been thinking about was, you know, can this be a corrective move up here? You know, would it fail at that point? But we've kind of just moved past that now, so we're not going to get that. But let's just see. Okay, so just coming back to Bitcoin here for a moment. So we can look at it like this. I think on the 4-hour chart too, we can look at this was the other way I was looking at it as well. So just up for 1 and back for 2. So in this case, from wave 2 here, 1 here and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 in here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave, a third, fourth, and then the fifth wave here. So in this case, we would push up here nicely, and then we would have a decent sort of correction here for wave 2. So just to resolve everything, we're either going to have this as wave 2 here, as I mentioned in the beginning, or we'll have it as wave 4. That's pretty much the go on it all. But either way, it kind of doesn't matter, because it's all bullish, and we're in for a really nice treat here with this move. We just need to get to our next levels. That's all. As I mentioned here before, yeah, I won't go into that. It's just detail stuff. So yeah, this little pattern here, I said I'd go into that a bit. So the thing here with this is from IG Markets, and the trouble with these guys is that they haven't really embraced the crypto market yet. So what they do is they turn their platform off and do all their maintenance, and this little space here is the time they've taken off to do that maintenance. They don't back the data up or save it and reintroduce it. They just do this. So there's stuff missing out of that thing there. So you'll have to watch that with other CFD providers as well. So this is Bitcoin. This is the top little space here for that. So if I just put that on 30 seconds here, so if I can get it in there enough. So you can see there's no gap here. But what I worked out here was that we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Now I know there's a bit of overlap on that, but it does give us that 5 wave structure down here. So then we can look at that as an ABC for the A wave, the B wave, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the C wave. So that brings it up to that point. And then we've got 5 waves down here. And then we've got this, so a little bit tricky to get all of that. So, well, I can come back to this chart here now, so it doesn't really matter that much. So I know this is corrected from a couple of ways, but the very simple way is that let's just, normally when we talk about an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here, then we know it's bullish when it takes out the B wave top here. So in this case here, we can look at this move down through here, and then we can say, well, if the market takes out these tops here, which it is, and then it's corrective as well. So we can view it. We could probably view this as a triangle pattern in here as well. But in a nutshell, an A wave, a B wave, or a B wave to here, and then the C wave to here. So this is why we're going up here. The other interesting thing here I thought was worth noting is that this is it's a shame about that gap. Let's go back to this here. This was where are we here? Yeah, this is 61,800 here. So really the 618 in geometry terms. So I was just keeping an eye on it through here just to see sort of how it played out and how important it was, and it really makes quite a nice balance line through here. So it's just a real subtlety. So the 62, really the 61.8%, the gold mean, the golden ratio comes in quite nicely, as you can see all the way through there. So it's something that you could use back over here as well for that. But obviously we use 61, 62 and 63 as all of group 1 as well. Okay, so anyway, that was just a bit of stuff on the side, nothing important. Yeah, so that's it, guys. It's all bullish. And it's all about the 65. So just to recap this again here, just on the daily chart here. All I know is that we're going to have some sort of correction across here, and it's either going to be the top of wave 1 and back for wave 2, or wave 3 and 4 and then move up. That's all I know. And I know that we'll have some sort of correction across here. So basically hodlers keep hodling, really. And there's good news in the pipeline this week, really, with the ETF markets coming on board. I mean, you can see what PayPal and Grayscale did to the situation. So, if there's going to be a whole lot of ETFs running in for this, then that's a lot of coin, to come to be, taken on board. So anyway, like I said, Santa's come. Alrighty, cheers.